Yeah, let's start. I'm Magnus Barum. I founded Talkpool 20 years ago, and I'm very glad to present our best operational quarterly result ever. We made some major positive steps forward. We achieved a strategy shift. We made a big step forward in the financing and several other things. So I think I'm going to leave, but we also had several extraordinary effects that affect the top line is higher than it would have been without the extraordinary. Also, the gross margin is much higher than it would have been without these extraordinary effects, and the net earnings is much worse than they would have been positive without extraordinary effects. So, but I'll leave now first to start with to Eric, our CEO, to start again with presenting our quarterly result and full year result. And then we're going to come back a little bit to speak about where we are now and what we want to do exactly after that. So please go ahead and restart.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
Let's start again. Welcome everyone to the presentation of our quarterly report, and also some outlook for the coming year, for the current year, together with some more details around our strategy and some business news from both last year and 2021. So if we start with the first slide, Magnus. Let's go back and look what we were aiming for in 2020. It was a clear goal for us to make a turnaround based on the numbers from 2019. An important part of that was, of course, to cut costs, to streamline the operations, and we did succeed pretty well with that, or very well, I would say 20-30% SG&A and finance cost reductions is quite massive, and we're proud about that. That also meant that we could reach break even already in Q3 and a positive cash flow. We also work a lot on focus. We've been all over the place with our IoT ideas. Now we know where we are strong and where we should focus, and that also means that we know what we are not focusing on what we're not going to do. That includes discontinuing non-core business in general, both in network services and in IoT, and also markets. We told you about this several times before, but Mexico and Uganda were closed last year, and that's an important step in that direction. We're also aiming for digitization also in network services. Both business areas, IoT and network services, from now on are based on digitization and also on IoT solutions. And this will pivot Talkpool from being a telecom company to smart building or smart property company, because also the network services we are doing from now on are kind of a smart property services in the same way as smart buildings built on IoT technical solutions. This also gives us a good position to start scaling. We're increasing our focus on sales and organic growth in general. We have also started identifying new acquisition targets. As you know, we have acquired a number of companies, but until now it's only been network services companies. Now we're looking at IoT, strategic IoT acquisition targets. And as you also know, we have already found one. We found a really good one in home solutions, and the company was, the deal was closed last week, but we already started signing an LOI last year and did the DD in Q4. So this is a real important step for us. I'll come back to that. Let's take a look at the numbers. Q4 was a strong quarter. We had a net sales of 6.4 million almost, and That's around 30%, which 30% increase compared to last year, which is a lot. A part of that was due to extraordinary effects. I'll tell you more about that later. EBITDA, same 500,000 EBITDA in the quarter, which is quite a lot for us, 7.6%. And the net earnings, on the other hand, were negative, also due to the extraordinary effects. And I would say the underlying result was a black zero and a small positive cash flow in Q4. So that was in line with the Q3 and with our targets for the end of the year. If you look at a full year, we reached a bit more than 21 million revenue and an EBITDA of almost 1 million, which is 4.5% on a year basis. Net earnings again negative, and if we look at the next slide, I can explain why. We did sell a company called Niot. You've seen the press release probably. That was a network company started for IoT networks by Talkpool a couple of years back, and we sold it off to Netmore. And that gave an additional revenue of 780,000 euros on the quarter, and same for gross margin, so around 800,000 gross margin as well. But if we look at the net result, it had very limited effect. On the negative side, we had a currency loss of 430,000, which is massive for a quarter. Most of that came from Haiti, where the government made a, let's say, artificial appreciation of the local currency called gourd with 100%. So that hit our net profit in Haiti quite a lot. I'll come back to what we've done about that. In Sweden, we had a currency effect as well on a loan as the Swedish crown got stronger in Q4. If we compare to Q3, we had a gain there, most that time mostly because of a weakening Swedish crown. And if we look at the beginning of this year, 2021, we're back on a gain again. So the FX loss in Q4 was a temporary thing. Another activity was to sell Mexico and Uganda. According to our SPAs, the sales and purchase the agreements, we were expecting an upside of 750,000 euros from that sale because of quite cautious accounting partly from our new accountants. That did not realize, and the effect from that on our net profit especially was very limited. And then last but not least, of course, COVID hit us all quarters, including Q4, as there was a second wave coming in October. It's hard to put a number on that, but of course it has dampened the sales activities, and some of the sales projects are still on ice in the Middle East, for example. If we look market per market, then this is the revenue. Our biggest markets are still Haiti and Pakistan. Haiti made close to 1.8 million revenue. Haiti has been a big operation for us since 2006. We are basically running the network for the local operator there called Digicel. It's an Irish operator, and we built a network for them in 2006, and then we took over the operation maintenance of the network, and we've done it since then. This has been a very important operations for Talkpool over the years, and it's still important, as you can see. So this is an invoice from Switzerland, so that's why it says Talkpool AG. Pakistan, an acquired company. We acquired a company in 2017. It's quite a big company with almost 1,000 employees, doing network services for operators in Pakistan, including Telenor and other, but also a lot for the vendors in Pakistan. A lot of projects going on, between 40 and 50 projects running in parallel. so it's quite a huge operations. And Pakistan had a good quarter in Q4. I'll come back to that. Sweden, which is normally not the third one on the if you look at the revenue, but this time because of the NIOT sales, it jumps up to the third place. As I said before, 780,000 out of that is extraordinary. So normally would be just above 400. Netherlands, our best in class company. If we look at the profitability, strong, constant, growing, and originally when we bought it, it was a very specialized company doing tarnishing or camouflage of mobile antennas on buildings, especially old buildings or churches. Over the last years, we have opened up new business in Holland, so most of the business is now coming from operational maintenance of towers for Cellnex. And that's also a very important platform for us for the new network services, the smart network services strategy. Tanzania had a great year, best year ever, also a good last quarter. So that's why they are quite big on the scale. Germany, next to Netherlands, one of our rising stars and a very stable development, good profitability. Belgium, as expected, pretty flat. In Belgium, we are doing repair of advanced telecom equipment for vendors and manufacturers of fiber equipment, and also some very specialized equipment, rugged computers and similar things for military. Well, in Germany, I didn't tell you what we're doing there, but our main activity in Germany is to plan the fiber networks for Deutsche Telekom, which is the biggest telecom company in Germany. And last but not least, Saudi had a tough year due to Corona. We were in very promising negotiations there with a new big tower company under Saudi Telecom in February a year ago, but all of that was put on ice and has been since. So we're just waiting for Saudi to open up from the lockdown so we can go back to negotiations and start growing Saudi as planned. Yeah. This is the development over the last 2 years of our EBITDA and the net profit. As you can see, we have had a very positive development, especially the last 4-5 quarters, on both EBITDA and profit. And there's a small knick on the curve at the end, but because of the extraordinary things I told you before. So operationally, we are doing good. We're on a good path, and we foresee that it will continue like this. So this is a nice trend. If we put some words around the business news, let's look at the IoT side first. And the big news is, of course, Home Solutions. Even if it was formally closed for this side of New Year's, everything was basically settled and done already last year. And as I said, this is a real important step for Talkpool. I'll tell you more about Home Solutions on a separate slide, but this really gives us a giant leap in Sweden, but also in general on the smart buildings market. 2 other very important orders that is strengthening our position as a smart buildings company. It's a breakthrough order from Reditel in Spain. I'll tell you more about that on a separate slide as well. Klöven, one of the big real estate companies in Sweden, where we sold climate and energy optimization solution that was tested first very successfully, and they now signed up for a 5-year agreement. Netmore, also on a separate slide, I'll tell you more about that, but that's actually something we sold, not something we bought. So This is now it's an interesting business actually, and as we said, we are working on a new smart building strategy. We finalized it at the end of last year, and now we also hired a new chief commercial officer to make sure that we will deploy this plan in Europe primarily, but also globally. If we look at network services, still a very important business for us. Netherlands and Germany performed very well. There was actually a TV program about the Dutch business. You can see a picture from that TV program to the right. It's our local country manager there standing in the church tower, showing how we were covering up the antennas in the church tower, and still making sure that they can radiate as planned. There's a link there. I won't dare to click it here, but if you go into Twitter or looked at LinkedIn, you can click the link, and it may be protected, but I think if you have a VPN tunnel or so, you can look at it. Pakistan gained speed at the end of the year, doubling EBITDA and trebling net earnings, thanks to some good business development and also good cost reductions throughout the year. Again, despite Corona, they're also struggling with Corona, but they also had some positive effects both on business and on some financial deals that they made with the banks, which lowered the financial costs. Tanzania, best year ever and best quarter ever. And as I said, Haiti did have a struggle because of the appreciation of the gourd, and had at that time a very negative effect. The currency has stabilized now again, which means weakening, going back from, it used to be above 100, almost close to 120, then they appreciated, and so it was 60, 70 against the dollar, and now it's back to 90 again. So it's going back to slowly but surely to normal levels. We also taken some other mitigation actions to really make sure that we hedge ourselves towards these kind of effects in the future. And Mexico and Uganda we mentioned already. Next slide, please. Yeah, briefly on home solutions. Magnus will tell you more about that later, but just to explain what our rationale behind that is. I mean, Home Solutions is a very established metering company, a smart metering company in Sweden. It's actually the third biggest IMD company. IMD stands for individual measuring and distribution, invoicing basically. And they have more than 50,000 connected flats already, mostly with HSB, which is a big company in Sweden. Big part of their revenue is recurring revenues from those installations. That's very stable and no churn. They also just developed a new digitization platform. And as I said, they have a long history in the market together with those very established companies in Sweden. Talkpool coming from another angle, with sensor and radio tech specialists. We are focused on commercial real estate companies and customers. We have a global reach in the company, and we have very, very good products already in those areas of indoor climate measurements like carbon dioxide, temperature, humidity, and so on. We also have the solutions for energy and climate control already down that can ready to be upsold to those existing customers of Home Solutions. And yeah, maybe we should mention that as well, that we will focus more on as a service offerings now, which means that we're not selling products, we're selling a solution on a lease basis and charging per month for that. We will merge those companies. We will merge the operations to start with, and then step by step merge them into one operation, one business, and this, let's call it home pool as a work name for the time being, will not only become a sensor and radio tech leader, but also together we can conquer both the commercial and the private real estate market. We both have strong and credible organizations. Now we have a global reach for home solutions as well, and we have a very good footprint for Talkpool in the Swedish market. We expect that those two companies together will make a revenue of around 5 million euros this year. And this also opens up a clear path to further consolidations, acquisitions, and a possible spin-off in the future. So that's Home Solutions. If we jump to the next slide.
Yeah,
Magnus. Yes, back to NIOT and the sale of that company. Just to understand what this was and what the reason was that we started this. I mean, there was at the time, a number of years ago, when we were offering our solutions to primarily insurance companies all around Sweden, there was no area coverage for LoRa, for IoT at all at that time. So we had to make sure that we had connectivity in the places where we offered our solutions, which is easy if it's in dense areas in cities, but in the countryside there was no coverage. And then we decided, if no one else is doing it, we're going to do it ourselves. So we started NIOT, Nordic IoT, and started building in the cities, and reached to certain level in the coverage of the most dense areas. Then we bumped into Netmore, who also positioned themselves as an IoT operator. We didn't really focus on operations of the network, but we were a network owner. And then now lately Netmore has raised a lot of money, and they want to take the role of a national IoT operator in Sweden. And that suits us very well, because we want to focus on IoT solutions rather than networks. So we decided to join forces, and we sold our network to Netmore, who will integrate it in their network. And this step means that we will have access to a nationwide network in Sweden, which means that we can start selling to all kinds of customers, regardless where they live in Sweden, and also to the big insurance companies that can offer it to their customer, regardless if they live in Stockholm downtown or if they live in the countryside up north. They can all access the LoRa network then. And that means that we can push our solutions for water damage and moisture to the insurance industry, but also, of course, our other solutions in the smart buildings area. On the other way around, Netmore will also use Talkpool as a network services supplier to build their networks both in IoT and in 5G, and to supply our products and solutions to them. So we believe a lot in this cooperation, and both sides are really optimistic and working hard on this. So that was Netmore. To the next case quickly, a lot of information here, but I can go through pretty quickly. This was the Klöven deal. Klöven is one of the largest real estate companies in Sweden. They did a trial of a solution that we made together with Myrsboven for climate optimization and also energy savings. The trial was very successful, so Klöven decided to sign up for a 5-year contract for 10 buildings in Stockholm. And the solution we provide sensors and connectivity and handling the data, and Myrsboven stand behind the artificial intelligence solution that is controlling the heating and the ventilation system in the building. This is not only generating a better indoor climate, but it's also going to save close to 2 million Swedish crowns per year for Klöven. it will also help preventing the spread of COVID-19, which was, I mean, a year ago wasn't a big topic, but now it is for sure a big topic. Most buildings in the world haven't been optimized in this way, so the potential is enormous when it comes to climate and energy optimization of buildings. And this particular order is to start with worth 750,000 for Talkpool. And to the right, you see roughly how this is working and how it's connected. I won't go into the details, but as you see there's saving potential of up to 30% only on the energy, and then you don't have the positive effect of well-being, health, and other positive effects from this solution. Third and last example of success story from the fourth quarter was the order from Reditel that you heard about. Reditel is one of our distributors that ordered 2,500 carbon dioxide sensors from us, and those will be installed in public buildings in Spain to measure carbon dioxide, primarily to prevent corona or COVID. And people can, by scanning the QR code, they can immediately see the concentration of carbon dioxide in the room, and that's an indicator for the air quality and also the risk of being infected by corona in that sense. And this is Reditel is, as I said, they are very, very proactive, and they are also trying to push this in other revenue streams, and also talking to really big companies like Axpo about joining forces around this solution. And this has also spread to many other markets. We have seen a big interest in this solution from many markets, including England and Sweden. So this is a real success story, and the potential for upsell on this particular provider, but also on other. We have a lot of partners around the world that are selling our solutions and products, and that is of course enormous. And I mean, nothing can be more hot right now than COVID protection, right? This was also showed in television, actually, in the Spanish television. So there's a link down there. You find it I think it's in the quarterly report, and it's also on our homepage and on Twitter if you want to take a look. It's all in Spanish, but it's easy to understand what it's all about. So I think that was, well, a quick outlook this year before I close my part. I mean, of course, we're going to work on integrating home solutions and merge this with Talkpool as Talkpool's IoT business, as I said before, and from there start scaling and upselling solutions on existing customers on both sides. We will also leverage on the strong market and the demand for those solutions that I just mentioned. This also means that we are repositioning Talkpool in the market geographically and also when it comes to our service offering. First focus is Europe. IoT solutions in DACH means Germany, Austria, Switzerland, and the Benelux countries. And we're also going to make sure that we execute on our smart network services strategy that we also developed throughout last year. So very briefly what we're looking at doing this year, and we're also going to release our targets. Oh, there was a bonus slide. This was just to show also on our geographical focus. If you see there to the left, this is how the split was between different geographical regions in 2017. Middle East, Africa was more than 50%, and Americas, a lot of it from Haiti was about 30%, and you see the rest is Europe is 20%. Now, 4 years later, America has been shrinking a little bit. Middle East and Africa, primarily Africa, has been going down to 35%, and Europe has taken over as the biggest region with 40%. And this is a deliberate development where we're moving back from some of the development countries and back into Europe. And this is we're going to see this trend becoming even stronger the coming years. Now I don't think there are any more bonus slides from my side.
No. So thanks for that, Eric. Very punctual with 30 minutes. I'm going to try to keep it a little bit shorter because we had some technical issues initially. So yeah, basically here I'm celebrating our best quarter ever. We did a lot of good things in the past few months, and I'm gonna just try to summarize them here now. So first, like Eric said, we have like 40% of our business in Europe. It might reach 50% before the end of this year. It's growing, and the Middle East is also growing, whereas Americas, the Caribbean is pretty much stable. This acquisition we made it basically for two reasons. It was a big opportunity, and we also have synergies with some technology and skilled staff, and Home Solutions came in with over 50,000 clients, connected homes, also with some skilled staff. But the combination of those two things, they create large synergies, we believe. And this business is something we want to continue going for. So looking for other markets, Scandinavia, Northern Europe, Eastern Europe, and similar companies as Home Solutions to acquire, to expand geographically with that business. And also with the prop tech, because we're dealing with, as you can see in the picture, there is pretty complex, a lot of different variables, and we're focusing on water, air, and electricity. And there's a lot of very interesting technology within those areas that make indoor air better, healthier than outdoor air. Water to reduce consumption and improve quality, and same with electricity. So there's a lot of technology upside that we want to work with and bring that to our growing number of clients. And this also marks a big strategy shift. So we're now definitely, we have made the step away from the basis. We needed that basic step, network services. We have end-to-end solutions, including wireless, hardware products, networks. We have software. We have all kind of cloud servers and end-to-end. So it's not just one part of it or an app or whatever. It's the whole complete solution that we can offer. We do have that now, and we're pushing that into new territories. We also sift through hundreds of business cases, and we chose these two business cases that we think are highly successful. And there's also some indication of that for example, Capgemini, they're saying that smart metering is really high potential. Environmental monitoring for telecom equipment is also very, very high potential. And those are the two areas that we're in. It's high margin. It's coming pretty soon with new technology, artificial intelligence, and all those. It's developing pretty early and has a pretty big impact on the areas that we chose. But on the other hand, you can see here on this, we're very much on the basic level. We're dealing with water, data, air quality, and electricity. So the race here has just begun. We're very early stage, and Talkpool has made some good steps. We're pretty well positioned to be one of the players that can really have a run here now in the next few years with the skills we have, with the position we have. I think it's well, and it's also pretty clear where we're going. That the homes and businesses and offices and buildings aren't going to stay as they were. It's much more changeable and focused around the tenant and the people in those buildings, and a lot of technology is required to achieve that. And we're looking at a few different things out of the many different complex parts of the building. We're looking at the alarms, at moisture, at the carbon, the air quality, sustainability in terms of electricity with the solar power, photovoltaic on the roof, and the charging of cars and so on, and also temperature and so on. So, and any of those things that we want to do, we're focusing primarily initially as on metering of electricity and water. So it's really individual measurement of consumption of electricity and water in buildings and in apartments and offices. And so that's really our Trojan horse as we see it. So we get into the buildings, and from that positioning, and that's exactly the position that Home Solution has. And from there we expand, we upsell other solution, and we're focusing on air quality, indoor air quality, and also reducing, improving the air quality while also reducing costs. And also a few other things, damage prevention, certification, environmental certification. So we have a pretty clear vision of the next steps, what we want to do, where we want to go. And also here we have a pretty good development, I believe, of the network services. That also, it's coming back after many years of challenges. Partly due to fierce entry phase of the Chinese companies, and they were basically selling equipment at low prices and giving away the services that we're part of the business. So it's challenging for many years to be profitable, to make good business out of this, along with new technology, 5G, IoT, fiber is coming. We're also participating in all that, artificial intelligence. This is one of the areas where AI is expected to have the earliest breakthrough, and that's within months. It's coming now. It's not going to take 3-4 years before AI is starting to so basically replacing field forces, staff with the technology, and also there's also a new range of different clients for us. Instead of just having big operators and vendors, now there's large companies, multinationals, they have their own networks, 5G networks, and we're servicing them, planning and operating those networks. And also the tower companies with very high valuation. They're real estate companies, and it's their top priority to work with the passive infrastructure, and that's our focus. The financing went very well. We secured 5 million. I'm very happy about that. I didn't think it was going to happen. Like looking back 3 months ago, definitely not 3 years out. But just before Christmas. It didn't look so good, and suddenly it just turned out better than expected. So we received 1.15 million cash, another loan 1.6 million, and Calypso converted. It's on the way. And also a backstop of 1.85. So in total, 5 million growth capital secured. And next thing on our financial agenda is to sort out 2 expensive loans that cost us more than 400,000 euros a year. So we can reduce our financial costs by also having better replacing those loans. That looks achievable. So I'm very happy with the outcome of this financial part. And also strategically, I'm very happy that that's a core thing. We've been working on this for a while, and now we've reached a certain maturity. So the network part, that's relatively stable, 20 million revenues with an upside. A lot of projects have been frozen for a long time due to Corona, mainly. And it's organic. So we have our clients, we have our opportunities, we have and like I said, this market is coming out not just out of Corona, it's also coming out of a ice period that has been lasting for many years, and it's coming in with new technology, new clients, new opportunities. So that it's looking much better, I'd say. We can clearly see the end of the tunnel for the network business. And also sustainability is a big part of it. Electricity, solar power. We're working on a lot of like solar parks and delivering that power out to the telecom sites. And on the other hand, this IoT business, Internet of Things, that's now we're using IoT for networks and for buildings. But for a long time, we didn't really know where to focus. And now we found our focus. We found the buildings, smart buildings. We know exactly what we want to do within those buildings. We also know that it's an acquisition story. We want to acquire companies, and then we want to use our technology to upsell to those clients. And it's very sustainable, and in addition to that, we're selling to several technology integrators, like this example in Spain for COVID, and also another example here in Switzerland, Zurich, a very big insurance company is now rolling out a big project for their headquarters with our technology through an integrator, through a Swiss integrator, and some other integrator in all over the world that's starting to pick up that business. So for the acquisition part of the buildings, we were going to need additional financial power, not for the next few months, not now. We're now trying to settle things, but looking forward, that would be required, but not for the operational business. So we're cash neutral and growing, and we've been asked also to consider spinning off this buildings part. Some shareholders think they would realize large hidden shareholder values, and we've also reached now some certain maturity for that business that it could be considered, but no decision has been made so far at all on that. So that we're starting to look at that now, and now this month we're going to come out with the new targets, right, Eric, for 2025?
That's what it said.
So we've entered now this second phase of our development, and it's so then we're also setting the where we want to go in that phase. So I'm going to see if I can yes, I'm stopping to so there we go. You can see us again. Yeah, we're through with this presentation. So if you have any questions, just ask them. I have one question here now about our sustainability cycle. Let me show. I have something on that one. Yeah, there was one question about our sustainability idea, because we plan networks, we build them, and we operate and maintain. And then one part that's kind of forgotten is that we also repair. So instead of throwing away equipment, that's communication equipment, all kinds of equipment, we repair. So we have like 15 employees that are repairing, and Sometimes it's Chinese or Asian equipment that's repaired and in Europe instead of sending back. Sometimes it's American and European equipment, but it's basically to extend the life cycle of the products instead of sending back. And then it goes back, planning again, improving, upgrading for the also. It's not just hardware; it's also software upgrade, new software, and making sure the products work. So it's we do have a sustainability life cycle, so we're going to try to be a little bit more clear about that. Yeah, I don't see so many questions, and 1 hour
there was a question about our radon sensor as well. That's something we will have to tell a little bit more about in the future. We haven't released it yet. We haven't press released it either, but it's coming up. So it's yet another sensor, and also about health and indoor environment for measuring radon in buildings. So that is coming up next. Also a question about the floor drain. We've been talking about that for some time. That is, as I told you before, also depending on connectivity. Also in remote areas, and as soon as we have an 80% coverage in Sweden, we can release that now in probably middle of the year, Q3 or so. Together with the insurance companies and the floor drain producer of this piece here. It's something you build into the floor drain in bathrooms primarily. The interest is huge, but it has to be tested, and all the insurance companies have to be on board, and that has been a bit of a slower process than expected initially. So that's the latest update on that.
Yeah, so basically now it's on to celebrating we finalized the turnaround. We have had our best quarter ever and the great start of this year with a number of very good things. So thanks for participating. We had some technical issues, but we managed on time.
We got most of it. Yeah. Otherwise, feel free to write us or give us a phone call.
Yeah, yes, please.
If you have specific questions or if you want to know more about Talkpool.
All right. Thanks
everyone.
a lot. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Nice having you. Bye.